The silence of a new apartment always feels louder, especially at night, especially when there's not a single sound beyond the walls. Elena had moved in a week ago, escaping the noise of her old neighborhood. The musician neighbor, the past, always catching up. Here, in this concrete block on the city's edge, it was quiet, too perfect. Especially her downstairs neighbor, Grigory Semyonovich, a man in his 50s, with perfectly combed gray hair and a polite, slightly strained smile. He showed up on her doorstep the very first day, holding a plate covered with an embroidered towel. "Welcome, Elena Viktorovna." His voice was soft, velvety, with a faint steel edge. "Grigory Semyonovich, your neighbor from downstairs. Here, a cherry pie. Homemade. I hope you'll enjoy it." The pie was indeed delicious. Too delicious, like everything Grigory Semyonovich did. The next morning, when Elena, rushing to work, tripped over an unshoveled patch of snow, he was already there, shovel in hand. By the time she came back, the path was spotless. "No need to thank me, Elena Viktorovna. Safety comes first. Ice is dangerous." When a socket in her apartment shorted out, he knocked precisely 5 minutes after she flipped the switch in frustration, and it cracked. Heard an unusual sound. "Mind if I take a look?" He fixed it in 10 minutes, carefully, in white gloves, without leaving a speck of dust. He knew when she left for work. Knew she liked mint tea. How did he know? She couldn't remember ever saying. One evening, after a long shower, when the building's water was shut off for maintenance, he politely knocked and handed her a canister of clean drinking water. "Just in case, Elena Viktorovna. It's always better to be prepared." His attentiveness was flawless, and that made it unsettling, as if he was always a step ahead, as if he was watching. Paranoia? Maybe. But one night, coming home from a late shift, Elena dropped her keys right in front of his door. The metallic clang echoed in the silent hallway. She bent down, muttering under her breath. And a draft from the crack in his window, odd, it wasn't windy outside, nudged his door open, not wide, just an inch, but enough. Her gaze, glancing inside, froze. The far wall, from floor to ceiling, covered in notebooks, thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands, identical, cheap, school style, with plain blue cardboard covers, lined up in perfect rows, like soldiers on parade. They blanketed the wall completely, no gaps. A silent, overwhelming mosaic of paper and cardboard. In the dim light from the street lamp, they looked like a single living, breathing mass. Elena's heart pounded in her throat. Cold sweat prickled her back. This wasn't just odd, it was monstrous. What's in them? Why so many? A collector's nightmare, an obsession wrapped in politeness. Her mind screamed, "Close the door, leave, forget." But curiosity, mixed with icy fear, was stronger. A trembling hand reached for the closest notebook, just below eye level, near the door's edge. One tug, and it was hers, small, light, deadly. The door shut silently. She burst into her apartment, bolted every lock, pressed against the door, listening to the hallway's hollow silence. No footsteps, no angry voice, nothing. Just the pounding of her own heart in her temples, under the kitchen lamp. She opened the notebook. On the first page, a neat inscription in ink. No, 7:14. Subject, Petrova Elena Viktorovna. Aptern at 56. Period. 01/06. 2025. 30/06. 2025. Today's date, June 30th. The last day of the period. A chill crawled up her skin. She turned the page, and her world shrank to lines of small, immaculate handwriting. Each page, a day, each hour, a note, time stamped to the minute. 01/06, 2025 mine, Fulan, moved into Apton 56. Belongings, 7 boxes, 1 suitcase, 1 cooler bag. Empty. Emotional state. Anxious. Tired. Noted a tear while unpacking photos. Presumably family. 12:47. First outing. Destination. Local store. Purchased bread, milk, yogurt, apples, Greenfield mint tea. Preference confirmed. 14:20. Shower. Duration 12 minutes. Water turned on 3 times. Nervous habit. 23:11. Phone call. Unknown number. Likely ex-partner Dmitri. Whispered conversation. Duration 4 minutes 17 sec. Post-call emotional state. Subdued. Quiet. Crying into pillow. Page after page. Day after day. Every step. Every detail. When she left and came back. What she ate. And how much. When she slept, and if the light stayed on longer. When she brushed her teeth. When she laughed at a silly video. When she sang in the shower. When she argued with her mother. When she sat in the dark, staring at the wall, thinking how bad everything had gotten. Her life, dissected atom by atom, recorded with surgical precision. Fear turned to sheer horror. He was everywhere, always. He was in the walls, in the cracks, in this perfect, suffocating order. Her trembling hands flipped to the last page. June 30th. Today, the entries continued, right up until the evening. 19:45. Returned from work. Time, 19:42. Deviation, 3 min. Reason, bus delay. Not her fault. Emotional state, tired, irritated. 8. Yogurt, apple. Expiration, date, fine. 21:03. Shower. Duration, 15 min. Water turned on twice. Sang loudly. Fragment of Kino song. 23:08. Left apartment, possibly for work. Shift not previously noted. Purpose unknown. Below, in a slightly different hand. Sharper, as if written with effort. A final entry. The only one, without a timestamp. 23:55. Observation protocol breached. Subject, Petrova EV. Committed unauthorized removal of notebook number 714. Plan, correction, activated. Elena recoiled, as if shocked. The notebook slipped from her hands. Correction. What was that? She looked at the clock. 23:57. 3 minutes until. What? She rushed to the door. Checked the locks. Still in place. Dead silence beyond. Maybe. It's nonsense. A madman's joke. But the handwriting, it matched. Perfect. Methodical. She snatched up the notebook, frantically flipping through, searching for any clue, any mention of this correction plan. Nothing. Just her life, shelved and labeled. Suddenly, the lights went out. Not just in her apartment. Outside, too. The entire building, the whole neighborhood, crushing, absolute darkness, broken only by the faint dying glow of her phone on the table. She froze, listening. Silence, thick, suffocating, like tar. And then, a new sound, soft but clear, measured. Tick-tock, 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 coming from her coat pocket, hanging by the door. She didn't remember putting a watch there, especially not a ticking one. Her heart hammered. She walked over, reached into the pocket. Cold metal. She pulled out an old-fashioned, round pocket watch. Heavy, chainless. The second hand jumped with a loud, sinister tick-tock. The face had no numbers, only marks. The hands pointed to exactly 000. Midnight, tick-tock. The sound filled the apartment, louder, more insistent, pounding in her temples. And then a knock, not loud, not frantic, not random. 3 knocks, measured, precise, a second apart, just long enough for the watch's second hand to make its jump. Knock, tick-tock, knock, tick-tock, knock, tick-tock. Then silence, deep, tense, broken only by the relentless tick-tock in her hand. Elena pressed her back against the wall, wedged between the fridge and the cabinet. She couldn't breathe. Fear paralyzed her, icy fingers tightening around her throat. He was there, behind the door, Grigory Semyonovich, the perfect neighbor, the archivist of her nightmare. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. The watch counted the seconds until... what? Until the correction. Suddenly, a soft sound, barely audible, the turning of a key in her lock. Her lock. But her keys lay on the table by the entrance. She only had one set. She heard the first lock click open, then the second. Quiet, precise, professional, tick-tock. The watch's hand froze at 12. The ticking stopped. A dead silence fell. The door opened a crack, a black rectangle of darkness in the room's blackness. No silhouette in the doorway, just a smell. Faint, but unmistakable. The scent of fresh paper and ink, precise, meticulous, eternal ink. A voice spoke, soft, velvety, politely chilling. "Elena Viktorovna, you forgot to return something. My property. Notebook number 714. Perfect order. Demands perfect precision. Allow me to make a correction." A shadow stepped forward into the room.